All right, we are live. We got to let it breathe just for a moment here. Bring it on Facebook. Excited to see everybody tonight after things that ended so abruptly for me and I guess for the show basically last night. But welcome in, everybody. Mile High Huddle podcast. It's the aftermath episode. I'm Chad Jensen. With me, Mr. Producer himself. Return to the mic, Scott Kennedy. Scott, thanks for making time tonight, brother. Great to have you on the mic. And look, yesterday was our gut reaction, not only to the results of the game, but you guys saw in real time how literally, like, it was a slobber knocker. Like, I was, what? Zach had to repeat it like 30 times. My brain was not catching up. What was your reaction to it, Scott? And how are you feeling about it now? I guess, one day removed.
Thought it was some parody account that it was like we were being punked on it. I mean, I have some experience with this. It was a long time ago, but I actually had a broken ankle and it didn't bother me for like a week when I was a kid. And in the middle of the night, I'm just screaming. We're out of town. And it turns out we go to the hospital and oh yeah, he's got a broken ankle. It's been like 4 days. Dang. So it's amazing to me. And I always get so frustrated when announcers say stuff, well, we're not going to speculate, but he got up and walked off. That appears to be a good sign. He walked off under his own power. That doesn't mean anything, especially with ligaments. I've broken my ankle twice, actually. And one, I didn't even know I broke it until a while later. And the other time I hobbled off and was pissed off. And I'm like, I'll see y'all in 6 weeks. I hobbled off the soccer field and said, I'll see y'all in 6 weeks. Then I threw out an expletive. That SOB just broke my ankle. And it's 6 weeks before you're back out there, but it's a pretty easy recovery. What's strange to me though is that what do you do that he needs surgery so quickly? I mean, why are you getting surgery on your ankle?
If it's a fracture.
Yeah, you set it, cast it, and go. So that's the whole thing's just a little not weird, like deceptive weird. It's just a freak injury.
Yeah.
And it's just, and my reaction to the whole thing is it just sucks. And part of my reaction on this is the New England Patriots could go to the Super Bowl and win it, and we still might not have any idea if they are worth a damn.
Yeah.
Clear the deck. So, my reaction today is if the Patriots are counting on 5 turnovers from Jarrett Stidham and the Denver Broncos to win in Denver, forget it. It ain't going to happen. They'll play, the Broncos will play much smarter, much more conservative than that. And they've got a defense to back it up too.
Very true. Very true. My heart still breaks for Bo Nix. Just going back and watching some of the stuff like the post game, we're learning about this 45 minutes after the final gun, and you can go back. A lot of it's on my Twitter. A lot of it's on Mile High Huddle Twitter account, but like just seeing him as Will Lutz is about to trot out Scott to kick that game winner. And he's standing there with his QB brethren and Davis Webb and sitting there. And you could see him try and kind of test it. Like he's trying to convince himself he's okay. He tries and test it. And then he tests it a little too hard. And you can see him just wince in like absolute pain. And yet then he goes out, does that interview with Tracy Wolfson at midfield. And you could even see it then, knowing only from the future what he knew then, that there was one little moment during that conversation with Wolfson where you see him kind of touch his head and realizing when he's thinking about the AFC Championship game, I might not be there. In fact, I'm probably instinctually, we kind of know, Scott, right? Like when something happens to our body, like sometimes we can be impervious to things, but most of the time when it's serious, like our intuition tells us. And I think it was clear. So my heart breaks for him because look, was Bo perfect this year? No, but dude, he has accomplished some amazing stuff and he earned that win. Just such a football tragedy. I mean, it's football, so let's not call it a tragedy within the scope of this is entertainment, but just tragic.
No, but from a personal perspective, this is what we put our fandom into. This is how we spend a lot of our free time. And for him, from a professional standpoint, being a football player has been most of his life. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So to get him there, they wouldn't be there without him. And if Jarrett Stidham, 2 things for Jarrett Stidham, lots of things on Jarrett Stidham, but 2 just right now. If he gets him there, 1, he's going to have a whole lot of money, because I think he's a free agent after this year. And if he goes and wins 2 games in the Super Bowl, he's going to become a coveted free agent.
He's got 1 more year. They re-signed him just barely. So
I couldn't remember. He did sign it. He signed a 3-year deal, didn't he?
No, he signed a 2-year in 23. Then they re-signed him last year.
Spring. Apologies. Yeah, he was a free agent last year. Okay, apologies. So that's good for them. Maybe you get a nice
But exactly, I was
Trade.
thinking the same.
It's nice having those assets, right? Davis Mills.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is if the Broncos do go on to win it under Jarrett Stidham, Bo Nix should celebrate as if he was out there at the exact same time, because they wouldn't be there without him. No doubt about it. It's a big part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me that, as the fan, I'm about to grab David here, but as a fan, there's like that part of me that if they go all the way and just beat the odds and win it with a backup quarterback, how elating that's going to be, obviously, just as a fan of the Broncos. But there's going to be an aspect of it that would be slightly, I don't know, hollow, an aspect, only because one of the guys isn't there. But that's me counting chickens.
I'd like to find out.
Yeah, well,
let's find out how bad we'll feel by winning the Super Bowl. I'd love to have that feeling. Let's find. This is just so heartbreaking that we won it. We won the Super Bowl, and Bo Nix wasn't playing. It doesn't even count. Come on.
It's not even so much that. It's like
I'm teasing. I remember I'm in the background a lot of times. You know, after I've been covering the Falcons again professionally for 5 years, and what a circus show they are. And I'm just rolling my eyes. I'm like texting my friend, you should hear what these guys are saying about the Broncos and the pain they have felt for the last 10 years. I'm like, guys, the Falcons have like 10 good years in their 60-year history, you spoiled brats.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so hollow if Bo wasn't out there to win the Super Bowl. What's a Super Bowl?
There's an aspect, like, I don't know what it is. Like, it would feel
I know
almost
what it is. I mean,
incomplete. I don't know. It's so hard to explain, but let's grab David.
He's 25, 26 years old. You know, he's not 36 years old.
True. Many moons, many games. This won't be the first time he advances. David, brother, thank you for being patient. Thank you for the super chat too, big dog. And also, real quick, guys, thank you, and sorry for those that we kind of left hanging on the super chats. I think there's a little bit of a miscue. I was hoping Zach would get them after I dipped off last night, but we had our wires crossed. So we'll make it up to you guys. Trust on that. David says, Pat's advantage? No. Broncos O-line is still intact and still have the best head coach in the league, and our defense is still one of the best. Advantage Denver. I mean, they're at home. The biggest difference, look, Bo is a playmaker. He can create. There's that aspect to his game that, you know, we haven't seen a lot of that from Jarrett Stidham in his 4 starts. But the one thing, Scott, that worries me the most about what it'll look like with Stiddy and not Bo is just simply the clutch gene. Like, you just kind of believe, like even Mike McGlinchey said after last night's game, before any of the players had any clue what was going on with Bo, that in that final possession in the fourth quarter, 4 minutes and change, and they had to get a touchdown, a field goal would not suffice, that they were all like, yeah, okay, let's get out there. We got Bo. Let's see what happens. Like, Bo can make it happen. So it's just that clutch gene, Scott, that I worry about. But at the same time, his point here about the defense, those takeaways were great. Don't get me wrong. Like, holy cow, it's not easy to get 5 takeaways in a playoff game. But, guys, they didn't make the Bills punt. They either got points or they turned the ball over. Like, what do you make of that, Scott?
You're playing a Josh Allen-led offense that is uber aggressive. So, you know, they're either going to get their big plays and move the ball in chunks, or, you know, especially once you adjusted to the run, or they're going to make mistakes. Well, they made mistakes. Now, you don't want to catch them on a day when they're hot, when they're not making mistakes, because then they run you out of the building.
Yeah.
But it's a high risk, high reward type of offense at the time. And frankly, the way their wide receiver core was, they played an amazing game to make that a game. I mean,
yeah, no doubt.
You know, the guys that they're running out there are you know, waiver wire pickups and practice squad guys, and Josh Allen, who just his arm level is so amazing. You know, when we just talk about, okay, watch the arm talent. Yeah, he makes throws that maybe 5 quarterbacks at most can make, including one that's playing tonight. And you see it, but there's so much more to the game than that. That's why I say that quarterback is probably the hardest position to scout, because it relies so much on things you cannot measure. Most of this game is height, weight, speed, 40-time explosiveness, agility scores, et cetera, et cetera. If I've got a guy that's 6'6", 260, runs a 4.5 and has a 4.1 shuttle with a 38 vertical leap, odds are he's going to be a pretty good football player. But, you know, I was just scrolling through X and was like, oh yeah, remember this throw? This may have been the best throw in NFL history. That was Anthony Richardson. Well, he doesn't know how to play the position. You know, he's a 10 on like 4 different positions on relative athletic score, but he doesn't know how to play the position.
Right.
So, and some of that, what's nice is you've got Jarrett Stidham who's been out there, but I saw someone post today. And appreciate you, David. Thank you for the super chat. That the Broncos are the only team in the NFL whose backup didn't throw a pass this year.
Right. Right.
Like that seems foreboding, it's
or
like
last year.
It's but that's also a good thing. That just means that they're the only ones whose quarterback stayed healthy all year, because quarterbacks don't substitute that often in this league. There's very rarely like, oh, we're up by 40 points, let's throw in the number 2. That rarely happens in this league. So it means Bo was healthy up until the second to last play of the divisional round.
Sam, brother, thank you for jumping in and for the generous super chat, my brother. Great to see one of our Mount Rushmore superstars and dear members saying, hi, guys. Wow, what an incredible, nerve-wracking, heart-pounding game yesterday. Exactly, and then you get served that crap burger news almost an hour after your triumph. Then he says, the Broncos are going to the AFC Championship game. Unfortunate about Bo, but I believe Sean Payton will have Stiddy fully prepared for next week against the Pats. Go Broncos. Scott, I do too. I'm confident that it's going to look all right. I'm confident that the Broncos are going to be able to hang in there offensively. Stiddy will move the ball. Like I said, the only thing that gives me any doubts is, if this is a close game, comes down to all the marbles, fourth quarter, 2-minute, 3-minute. Can Stiddy conjure some mile-high magic on the same level that Bo has with such astounding whack job consistency?
Here's the flip side of this, though, also is, can Drake? True. I mean, we don't know that much about him. I mean, he was okay today, but he wasn't the reason they won that game. CJ Stroud may have been the reason why the New England Patriots won the game. Drake's really good, but he didn't, bring up memories to me of, Joe Montana coming up. And, when I was a kid, Joe had the ball, you were losing. That was just the way it was.
Yeah.
So again, if you're counting on 5 turnovers from the Broncos to win the game on the road in Denver, you're not going to win the game. So again, it's just what a season to be. I've said it a zillion times on my podcast and talking with y'all. I don't think there's a great team out there. I just don't. I still feel like this Broncos team was a year away. Yeah. I mean, like it was supposed to be. We're a year ahead of schedule, y'all. Yeah. Last year was get Bo his experience. Oh, well, you made the playoffs. This year was make the playoffs. Let's throw a 10-7. Oh, well, you went in the number 1 seed. You were 14-3. Next year was the year. So I feel like this team is ahead. But you know what? Everybody else is taking a step back too, and it's wide open. It's wide open. You've got a really good head coach, really good special teams, really good defense, and a really good quarterback. Well, that's going to win you a lot of games. Unfortunately, one of those is out now. Now you're going to have to rely on the rest of things, and hopefully the running game will pick it up just a little bit, and count on some of your veteran receivers. Cortland Sutton was kind of missing in action. Stidham will find Sutton. I think Sutton's going to be a big part of this next game.
I do too.
Thank you, Sam. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, buddy. I do too, by the way. I think Sutton's about to make up for some lost time, some lost opportunities to really make an impact. But, the same kind of storyline, Scott, we were talking about, it didn't really set in for me what I'm about to say relative to Bo until today after kind of the dust settled. But the same kind of things I was saying last week about Josh Allen's motivation. Like, finally, he's in the playoffs. He doesn't have to worry about Lamar, no Mahomes, no Joe Burrow. Like, this is his wide open shot if he's ever going to get one at finally getting over the hump. And then he runs into Bo Nix and the Broncos. And Bo, you're looking at it, like you said, so many of those linchpin AFC teams took a step back. You got all these second-year teams, both in the AFC and the NFC. I mean, look at what the Bears are doing right now. And so it's like, man, Bo triumphs. He gets over the hump to go to the AFC Championship game, so to speak, the hump, and ends up not going to be able to go the distance. And to me, that's another thing where it's like, man, the Broncos still cannot let this opportunity slip through their fingers, because there is no Mahomes, there is no Lamar, there is no Burrow. You're going up against a second-year guy who, yes, he's kind of proven himself a little bit more in these playoffs in Drake May, but he only played 2 games against plus 500 teams in the regular season. So now, to his credit, Scott, counting playoffs, he's 3-1, Drake May, against plus 500 teams. But man, it's still a great opportunity, Scott, for the Broncos even without Bo.
It is, but the thing is I think there's a little bit of a changing in the guard, where the Patriots won 3, and then it was 10 years before they won another one, because you're up on that level. Well, there were some teams that were up on that level that could have been. I feel like it's Michael Jordan time. That Mahomes kept a lot of guys from getting rings in the AFC that were really good football players.
Yep.
Well, they've taken a step back, and it was going to take a little bit of time for them to rebuild their roster. That's the way the NFL wants it. You're going to draft lower. You're going to lose your top guys to the salary cap. You only have 53 guys on your roster. It's forced parity.
Yep.
So that's the way it's supposed to be. Your window's only going to be there for so long. And then these new guys, if things work the way they're supposed to, are going to come after you, including the Broncos. The Broncos are just at the beginning of their window right now. They're, like I said, I still think they're a year ahead of schedule. They're at the beginning of this. We said it before. They're doing all this with another $35 million Russell Wilson money on there. What's $35 million do? If I went and looked at Spot Rack right now and set the line at $6 million, let's call it $36 million, it'd be 6 players at $6 million a piece. I bet there's only 8 players with a cap hit above $6 million. Let's see what it is. So, it's like, oh, well, it is people, you spend so much money at the top of things that you forget, that what that money can actually do for your depth.
True.
So I'm going to set the over under at 9. And if I hit Denver on $6 million cap hits, it's a little more than that. They're spending a little bit more than that. It's actually 15, including Jarrett Stidham.
Right.
Jarrett Stidham is a well-paid backup for a reason. Time to earn your money. He didn't have to throw a pass this year. He made $8 million. Time to earn your money.
Yeah. Go earn that, guys. Lots more we got to get to tonight, including your comments that we haven't checked with the members yet. We got more super chats. We're going to get to you here shortly. But guys, playoffs continue on, and Underdog remains the best place to get in on all that action. Time to get off the bench and into the game. Head over to Underdog, download the app. And by the way, it's not just football. Whether you're into basketball, hockey, any sport in between, Underdog is the best place to get in on that action all season long.
Exactly. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, passing yards for Jarrett Stidham, receptions, Cortland Sutton touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your initial cash.
It is a blast, guys. The opportunity to win money while you're watching football with Underdog. That's a touchdown. So download the Underdog app today. Sign up with our promo code MHuddle to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans, guys, have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next?
Be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Shoot, I could probably recite that off the top of my head, and I'm like fake miming it.
I'm calling the Hope line in New York. That's what I'm doing. We need some hope here in New York. Eric Holt, good to see you. He says, I really hate the news for Bo. He's coming with a super chat. Thank you, my friend. But backup QBs have won the Super Bowl before. Jeff Hostetler, Kurt Warner were backups.
Technically
with
true.
Sean Payton's history of backup QBs, but I believe in Jarrett Stidham. Let's go Broncos. Yeah. And the one that hit me originally was Nick Foles. Was Carson Wentz a starter on that team? Then it was Nick Foles that came in
and
got him
3/4 of the way. Games. So Wentz got him about 3/4 of the way. Mm-hmm. Foles took him the last couple 2-3 games of the regular season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, and what's the key there? Defense and running game.
Yes. And
it's not out of the question. I mean, the quarterback is the most important position in sports, other than maybe a dominant number one starting pitcher, but it's not the only one out there. And like I said, Stidham's got a good contract for a reason. Yeah, Sean Payton handpicked this guy and has kept him around for a reason. And we've said before, Bo Nix doesn't have to go out and win it; just don't go lose it. just be a game manager. Somehow game manager became a bad word.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take a game manager, manage the game, manage the clock, manage the turnovers, manage the down and distance. You can win this game, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, the Hostetler's a little bit closer. Hostetler's sitch was a little bit closer to what the Foles thing was in 2017. Warner, he was a backup, but he started regular season week 1 because Trent Green got hurt but anyway, it's semantics. The point is backups have gone the distance, and there are several instances. So yeah, let's maintain our confidence, guys. The Broncos are still the 1 seed. Again, for me, it's going to be the clutch factor. Can Jarrett make the same level kind of plays when it matters most that Bo has shown a penchant for? And then the only other thing, and I'm not trying to throw cold water on this. I'm just saying, just voicing some issues to watch for potentially is Bo was the least sack quarterback in the NFL for a reason. It's not just his offensive line. He's a tough sack. So can Jarrett Stidham maximize as well, Scott, that excellent protection for the most part that the Broncos O-line provides, the well-paid O-line, and avoid those sacks / negative plays?
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Got Naj coming in too. Good to see you, Naj. Hope you were doing well. Missed you this year. He says, brothers, incredible feeling to be back where we belong. So proud of the team. Bo in the fourth quarter is irreplaceable. Then don't let it come down in the fourth quarter, right? Feel awful for him and wish him a speedy recovery. We really need J.K. Dobbins back. Let's go get this. If J.K. Dobbins comes back, what are we expecting, really?
Right.
I mean, the guy's been out for a while. Was it a torn bicep, so he's been able to do his leg work?
No, it was the plantar fascia.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean, what can I if he's back, what can I really expect from him? I'm not expecting the world out of a guy that's been out for as long as he's been out.
Yeah.
Find RJ in space. He's pretty good. Hold on to the ball. You got a couple lucky bounces.
Yes, for sure.
In the last game. And it wasn't just him. McLaughlin put one on the ball too.
Yep.
Put one on the ground too. So you had a few lucky bounces there. Hold on to the ball. This one comes down, someone's coming. There's a Patriots person in here. I just happened to notice this. The Broncos had 5 turnovers too. How does that help them? If they're counting on 5 turnovers, then you can't expect to win the game. And there's both these teams got lucky in a sense. And like I've said, I don't think anybody's great right now. If anybody plays a nice, clean game with the 2 defenses out there, they're going to win it. There's no juggernaut out there in the AFC right now. There's a couple of flawed teams.
Yeah. Well, Drake May did put the ball on the ground a lot today for what it's worth. So, if you're the Patriots, no offense to you, my friend, Patriots fan that's in the chat, going against a team like the Broncos defense that's coming off the 5 takeaway game, that's a little bit of a concern. But obviously, big part of that today, Scott, was the weather. And then, of course, the insane edge rush that the Texans do have. But the Broncos can replicate some of that. Maybe not as dominant as those 2 edges in Houston, but pretty dang close, especially if Jonathan Cooper can kind of pull his head out and get back to playing the kind of ball that he should. But Naj, brother, I'm with you. The Broncos are back where they belong. It's going to be hard replacing Bo's fourth quarter magic. But as Scott said, you don't think Sean Payton knows that? I mean, it's rare, that kind of clutch ability. Patriots are no joke, all right? But the Broncos' best path to victory is to try and make it not a close game with under 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Easier said than done, especially, Scott, the way all these games so far in the playoffs have shaken out, which, as I think, actually points towards Scott's main opinion on that there isn't really a legit juggernaut in this playoff tournament in either conference. It's wide open. But the Broncos are the 1 seed for a reason, and Stiddy, go get her done, bud.
Yeah, and I think the best team right now, and I thought this going into it, not just with the results from the weekend, because San Francisco just ran out of bodies. I still think it was amazing what they were able to accomplish, what they did based on the personnel that they had and lost throughout the season. I think it was an amazing coaching job. But I think Seattle's the best team, and we all are just kind of sit back and wait for Sam Darnold to have one of these games. Yeah. And if he can just he didn't have a great year. He was like a 25-13 touchdown interception ratio. He was okay, but not, amazing. If he can lean on your running game and your defense and not turn the ball over, I think Seattle's probably the best team there of the teams that are left. But you just never know with Sam Darnold. You go and you look at his box score. You're like, oh man, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Where'd this come from?
Yeah.
So it's just you just never know with Sam Darnold, and that's a little scary. What we do know though, is Shannon Mills, and I haven't gotten to say thank you. I'm not sure that I've been on here when you've become such a regular. So it's a chance for me. I see you come in every night basically, and the huge support. So Shannon, thank you very much. She says, good evening. I think the Broncos have dealt with adversity all season, and this latest blow will be the catalyst for some major inspired football next weekend, especially from guys like Bowles and Benito. And Shannon, I didn't hear y'all talk about it last night, so I'm going to talk about it. How banged up was Surtain? Surtain, there was some doubt where, he went out and came back in, but he might not have played that whole game at 100%.
I don't think he did.
They're not going to tell you that. Sean Payton's not going to tell you that. They don't want, we don't want to change anything. But, Surtain was out there battling through it as well. So, you lose Brandon Jones, who's been playing at a Pro Bowl level since he's been a Denver Bronco. You've lost offensive lineman, Ben Powers, the center. You've lost did you ever really have Evan Ingram this year? You've lost running backs.
That's a good question.
You faced a lot of adversity this year, and you keep on winning. And it to me, it goes back to I've joked around, and this goes way back from Broncos for Breakfast. And Sean Payton is not a lovable guy. He's just not.
Hard to love.
Oh, but he is one. But you love him when he's your coach.
Yeah.
But, from the outside looking in, the guy's an unlikable person. So I've kind of said that what I've kind of said here recently is who's going to win this thing? The Broncos are going to win it because if Sean Payton's not the devil, they're on a first name basis. So you got Sean Payton, and go back to when he was hired. And I got feisty with people that were talking about him not being worth a first round draft pick because
first and second.
Well, it was really the first that everybody was talking about because,
true.
As we were speculating, it's going to cost you a first-round draft pick. That's insane for a coach. No, it's not. You guys overvalue, and I'm not saying y'all, Shannon. As folks, the hope of what a first-round draft pick of what this draft pick could end up being the next big thing. Sean Payton is that guy, though. He's worth it. There's very few first-round draft picks in the history of this game that are worth a Hall of Fame coach. And hitting on him is almost impossible.
Yeah. Well said, dude. You've maintained that from day one when Peyton was hired / traded for. And 100% agree with you, especially in hindsight. But Shannon, to your point about this being an inspired team, I think they have already been through the crucible. They've been through the refiner's fire, all those close games that came down to the wire. And then not only that, did it happen again in the divisional round, but the caliber of opponent that they prevailed over. And then to be hit with something like this, I think Sean Payton was right, Scott, to get this out immediately. In a perfect world, he would have rather have waited. Like if yesterday was Sunday, he would have waited till Monday morning, talked to the team. But because he knew he wasn't going to be seeing him for a couple of days, he felt the best thing to do, even though half the players, according to him, had already left and bailed from the locker room because, it was like almost an hour later by the time they got the news. He's like, I'm going to get it out there now.
That you can get that diagnosed and a surgery scheduled in about 45 minutes.
I know. I'm going, where did this doctor's on cell phone basis with Bo Lowry or
when
what?
You're getting the phone call from the guy worth $75 billion, you pick up.
Yeah, you pick up for sure. But anyway, my point here is I think Sean Payton's strategy to just get it out, let the players deal with it immediately, let the fan base and the press deal with it immediately so that he can turn his focus to what still matters, which is figuring out how to win this next game. So we'll see. But
in a 30-second TikTok world, it's no longer news by Monday when the team reports for practice.
Yep. But Shannon,
I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
on this, but I'm not exaggerating when I say how awesome you've been to us, Shannon, and we appreciate it. I don't get to say that enough, but I am part of this show just in the background, and it means a lot to us. Zach, I'm gonna put this up here, then I'm gonna probably bring it back down and read it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cover everything, but we see the stars on Facebook, so I want to say thank you. But Zachary says, "Good evening, Chad and Scott. How you doing? Amazing win for our Broncos last night. What a fun game, too. Golly, people talk about the pace of play and stuff. You get games like that, they go quickly. They go really fast. What are your thoughts on facing the Patriots? In my opinion, I'd rather play the Patriots with Stidham, who hasn't played in over 700 days, than playing an amazing defense like the Texans. I predict a Broncos win. It will depend on three things: the play calling, Stiddy, and our defense. And go Broncos, take it back to the Super Bowl. From my point of view, the way things are going right now, I don't care about the defense. I want to play against CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 10 turnovers in 2 games. First time in history. Most teams that commit 10 turnovers don't get a chance to play 2 games. They're gone. So that's the way I see it right now. But again, maybe he cleans things up, and maybe can you imagine if they had pulled that game out and switched and put Davis Mills in? I mean, that would have been a ballsy move from D'Amico Ryans, but it might have been the right one, but you've got the whole offseason. If you lose it doesn't work, to try and build him back up. Say, listen, it wasn't his night. He's still our guy, and you can build that back up. But right now, the Patriots were clearly the better team, because this isn't the first time the Houston Texans were giving the ball away like it was, like they were giving stuff away.
Yeah. Scott, kind of a hard segue, but I got to do this. This is epic, you guys. Nick Foles weighs in on the Bo Nix injury, and it's absolutely epic. You guys ready for this? Note for the Broncos and their fans, I know it's been an emotional 24 hours. I feel for Bo and the team, and I'm sending prayers for a strong recovery. Positive note going into the game versus the Patriots is that they struggle against backup QBs in championship-type games. Drop the mic, Nick. Drop the mic. So some moral support there, Scott, from Super Bowl champion and MVP and former backup quarterback Nick Foles.
Yep, and it's certainly possible. You put a system in place so that when Brock Purdy goes down, you still win with Mac Jones. Now, the stakes are higher, but you've got arguably, and again, going back to that trading of first-round pick for Sean Payton, there are very, very few people on this planet I would advocate that for. But I say that Broncos country doesn't understand how the other half lives to really know how good a job he did in New Orleans. He only won 1 Super Bowl with Drew Brees. I heard that. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Do you know how hard it is to win in New Orleans? They were a 380 winning percentage before he got there. They'd only won double-digit games like twice in 40 years. It'd be like taking the Browns and going on a 15-year run right now.
Right.
And it was worse. It'd probably be harder than that. What he did in New Orleans is one of the best coaching jobs in the history of this league, and he's going to go in the Hall of Fame. So for Sean Payton, yes. The death of Lynn, well, that's ominous. It says gives 5 Mile High Huddle memberships. I need to figure out how to turn this on, because Broncos country and Mile High Huddle community, y'all are awesome at this. And I don't know if I've ever seen it done on my channel. And y'all are really, really good about getting more and more people involved. So thank you. The death of Lynn.
Love you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, death of Flynn.
Life of MHH tonight. The Triple C Cubed coming in says, can the backup use his legs to avoid the sacks? He got sacked at a higher rate when he came in for Russell Wilson. He got sacked at a higher rate than Russell Wilson did. Things have changed a little bit since then around Broncos country, including the culture and the mentality. But he's not exactly a scrambler. I looked up when I saw the Super, and he only ran for like 150 yards in 3 seasons as a starter in college. Now, sacks count against your rushing total, but he ran some RPO at Auburn, but he's not a big running threat to scramble. His best friend is going to be quick decision-making, play action, and a running game, Colby.
Exactly. He's not as I mean, I'll quote Nick, our friend Nick Kendall. That's one of Bo's superpowers is avoiding the sack. He's already proven it. I mean, how rare is it for first and second year quarterbacks to not get sacked on a semi-regular basis, let alone last year as a rookie, finished third fewest sacks, Bo Nix, and then year 2, the fewest sacks in the NFL. So look, I know the Broncos offensive line is good. You got 2 all-pros, 1 on each side. However, expecting Jarrett Stidham to replicate the 0 sacks. Bo Nix was not sacked yesterday, by the way. That might be a bridge too far, but he can still do his thing. Like he's got a strong arm. He knows Sean Payton's scheme. Scott, you're more dialed into all the recruiting stuff, even still, that being your longtime expertise. Is it true that Jarrett Stidham was the former top ranked recruit coming out of high school when he signed to Auburn?
He signed with Baylor.
Or Baylor first, then Auburn.
He signed. He was a very, very high, well thought of recruit when he came out. I don't remember exactly where he was, but he was a high recruit. That was right about when I was starting to get out of it in 2014. Right before I moved up to New York, from LA to New York.
The scout days, the last stand of the scout days.
The old scout days. What was I just looking up? Stats on sacks. So Stidham took a bunch of sacks. He was sacked at a higher rate in his starts than Russell Wilson was, and Russell Wilson, we know, takes a bunch of sacks. Drake May was sacked 47 times this year. That's a lot. He was sacked 47 times in the regular season this year. And then I don't have the playoff numbers in front
I'll
of me.
look at it right now.
I think he got sacked 3 times today.
I'll look at it right now. So he was sacked
3 times. Yeah, 3 times today.
He was sacked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times today.
What am I looking at?
So that's against Houston.
Oh, I'm looking at New England. That's the same team, dummy.
The first game against the Steelers, 1, 2, 3 times.
Yeah, so 8 sacks in 2 playoff games, and he's about to go against the team that had more sacks than anybody by some distance.
Yeah.
So, keep him contained, because he's going to get his rushing yards limit. That if you can sack him, he'll put the ball. He can put the ball on the ground. Most quarterbacks do, and you saw that turnover with Josh Allen, who had gone 6 games without turning the ball over. So put some pressure on him. He is more of the running threat, though. He's going to scare you more with his legs.
So real quick, guys, we touched on it very briefly, but I'm seeing a lot of questions about JK. There are reasons to believe he could return this week. We won't know until we get the first practice report on Wednesday. But the reason we have to kind of maybe hope, not necessarily assume or expect, but hope, bears watching, whatever you want to call it, is that Sean Payton's been hinting at it for a couple, 2-3 weeks now. Not only that, but last week, for the first time, he's been working on his foot, rehabbing by himself. Last week, for the first time, he's out on the grass with the team, not with the team, but adjacent, let's call it, to the team, doing his workout routine and going through stuff. So it would not shock me, but the Broncos can't bring him in if he's not ready. Is he actually ready? Is he really that close? Scott brought that up earlier. And if he is, how much can you rely on him? Since he hasn't touched the ball since week 10, does he come in and be your 15-carry guy like he was before he walked out the door with that injury? Or, is he just part of the rotation and 5-6 carries, something like that? Any J.K. Dobbins, if you can get him, I think is better than none. But we'll know a little bit more starting on Wednesday if they start his clock.
Yeah, I just hesitate to, it's always the next guy that is the one that's most exciting. We see that also, the legendary A.T. Perry.
Yeah.
Man, why isn't A.T. Perry out there? Because he's got 2 catches in his career.
Who was it we were talking about yesterday, dude, when we were you texted me?
No, this was a good one, though. This was from now on, we will – was it the Broncos legend, Lil Jordan Humphrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, from now on, just like Hall of Famer, was it Kendall Hinton?
Kendall Hinton.
Hall of Famer Kendall Hinton. From now on, it's Broncos legend, Lil Jordan Humphrey. That's his full name.
Yeah. Anyway, a little aside there. But Mailman Ossendorf popping in, brother. Thank you. Good to see another dear member. saying, happy we have a dominant D, a good game plan, and executing in big moments can take us to the Super Bowl. Playing in Denver will make it difficult for May. Very difficult, very difficult. And as Scott just did a really good job illustrating for everybody, the Broncos had 68 sacks. They got after the quarterback yesterday. I mean, they're credited for, well, I guess I got to come back to it now and tell you, but the Broncos were credited yesterday against Josh Allen with only 3 sacks. All right. 3 sacks, but the 5 takeaways. They're going to get after Drake May. He's been sacked 8 times in the 2 playoff games and 47 in the regular season. That's a lot. Guys, do you remember how much we were complaining about Russell Wilson's sacks the 2 years he was the starter? 45, 55 times. Those were the 2 sack totals he finished with. If memory serves off the top of my head, Drake May is right up there, dude. He's right up there. And as we've seen, if you get pressure on him, he is a quarterback it's hard for almost any quarterback to avoid it. They're not impervious to pressure, but he is a quarterback that will make mistakes if you start hitting him. If he's feeling that pressure, you saw it today. So that's going to be tough for May. But then again, guys, the Broncos, you could still see it, a little bit of tackling issue yesterday against the Bills. Seemed like on first glance some communication breakdowns in coverage. As Scott brought us back down to earth, though, and at the top of the show, got to keep that in the context of who the Broncos were playing. All that pre-snap motion and all the crazy stuff and the aggressive play calling the Bills. So much, not only the window dressing they were throwing. I mean, they called a freaking hook and ladder, dude. Now, on top of and beyond, Scott, everything else they were doing to just like try and overwhelm the Broncos.
And Josh Allen hunts. He's going to push the ball downfield. He is greedy.
Mm-hmm.
I like that in a quarterback, honestly. But it's kind of like being analytics have changed the game. In the past, I never liked an all 3-point shooting team in the NCAA tournament because one night of off shooting, you're out.
Yep.
One off night in the playoffs of being greedy and you're out. You can beat anybody on any given day, but the problem is you can get beat on any given day if you've got a bad day or the ball doesn't bounce your way or the weather starts having an effect. So Mailman Ossendorf, great to see you. Boot Boy, we got to talk Boot Boy off the ledge here. He says, to be honest, I'm gutted. I debated coming into work and hitting the bar instead. I'd be lying if I said I was any bit confident in Stidham. This sucks. And again,
I understand it.
It's not like you're playing, peak Mahomes and the Chiefs right now. The Patriots could be that team. The thing is, we just don't know. Yes, they've won. They've beaten the teams that have put in front of them, but you're not counting on your quarterback to go out and win the game for you. Just don't lose it. And you can win this game. I guarantee you'll keep him in it as long as he is not making the big mistakes. Now, who's their defensive coordinator? I felt like it was a name we had heard before. I guess I was watching the Bears. I was like, wait a minute, Dennis Allen's the defensive coordinator of the Bears. We know that name.
New England?
If I'm the Patriots, I'm bringing heat. I'm loading the lines and I am bringing heat. I'm stuffing the run.
Terrell
and
Williams.
I'm bringing heat. I'm forcing you. And if you get up 2 scores on me, then I'll adjust. But I am pressuring the heck out of Jarrett Stidham. See how fast the game goes for him and how quickly he can process and get up to a playoff atmosphere speed. Yeah. I am bringing heat.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns, guys. Josh, I understand how you feel because as soon as the news came down, like that was the most unique feeling I'd ever felt as a fan. It's almost like you win the lottery and then someone calls you 45 minutes later and says your grandma died or something. Like that feeling. It's hard to explain the peak, the high, the emotional, and especially after a game as exhausting as that one was yesterday. And then to be brought so low and yet with the perfect knowledge of my team's still in it. What am I doing here? Broncos are in the AFC Championship game. So we got to try and keep it in perspective. It definitely hurts our odds, guys. It sets us back. He's not the starting quarterback. Scott.
Speaking of odds, I saw that the Patriots were favored, but I expected that after Bo went down. And frankly, before he didn't, they may have been favored, but I haven't looked at the total yet. What do you think it is?
46.
No, not the over under. What do you think the spread is?
Oh, 2?
I always said
2.5?
2.5. Yeah, I always said 2.5. So let's see. I'm curious what ESPN has it at. If I look at conference championship, wow, it starts at 5.5. I bet that comes down.
I do too.
It opens at 5.5. I mean, it opened at -1.5 Buffalo. It changed 3 points over the course of the week. I expect that to be down to 2.5 or 3 by the end of the week.
Yeah. So here's my message to you, Josh, is it is gutting to know that Bo's not going to be there to see this through. However it shakes out, Bo won't be there. But, guys, the Denver Broncos are in this. Not only are they in the AFC Championship game, it's not like, guys, they're having to go on the road to Gillette Stadium. They're at home. We're there. Broncos country's there, who, by the way, great job yesterday with the noise. Insanely loud. But I would say keep your chin up. Sean Payton, spookily confident, not just last night after he's in his somber mood and he's saying Stiddy will be ready, but I could sit and read to you some of the things he said today, guys, from his conference call he did this morning, but he's doubling down on Stidham. He's really doubling down. And he said, look, guys, he's going to be ready to go. He's going to be ready for the moment. What else is he going to say, you might argue? That's something, for example, Zach would say, well, yeah, what else is he going to say? Who knows? Let's hope he can win.
What's he supposed to say? Well, he's not supposed to say I got a Super Bowl team in August. That's true. Kind of ballsy.
So,
but no, I'm with you on this. I've said it before. This isn't just because it's a Broncos podcast. I keep the same message. Now, I might not always say everything the same, when I'm here as a guest or if I'm somewhere else, but I would say on a Patriots podcast, I would say the same thing. I don't know how good this Patriots team actually is. I don't. They're good. They don't beat themselves typically. Good special teams, good young quarterback who can extend plays with his leg. He took care of the ball this year, 31-8. They've got an underrated receiving core. I would want to get a weapon for him, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, Booty, there were some questions around him coming out of college, and he fell some, but he was a pretty high-round talent, and he looked it today.
Yeah, for sure.
But, speaking of being a year ahead of schedule, I would put that on them too. Who expected the Patriots to be where they are? Schedule be damned. In order to be, you're not beating anybody. Well, you got to beat them. Well, we weren't anybody. I'm familiar with that we weren't anybody. Who do you mean we haven't beat anybody? We're a nobody.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not necessarily. I know what I wanted to ask you. Talking about the advantage. This is why you win 14 games. They win that game yesterday if it's in Buffalo.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
Probably not. Yeah. The swings were so wild, and there was that moment, Scott, that it was a stretch after that field goal at the early third quarter, that turnover, the Broncos got it back, stalled, kicked a field goal. There was that, it lasted about a full quarter's worth of time, but almost all of the third and about half of the fourth, so maybe even a little bit more than a full quarter, where it felt like for a second that Buffalo game in Buffalo last year, where the Broncos were letting the momentum go, like they were starting to doubt that they could hang in and get this done. And they kind of ended up punching in right at the last second, holding the Bills to that field goal drive that gave him the 4-point lead in the fourth quarter. Then Bo gets the ball back, 4 minutes to go. And everything about what would transpire, the outcome of that game was dictated purely on Bo Nix not only driving down and getting the points, but the energy lift that he provided through that result. From there, the Broncos were like, yeah, duh, what were we thinking? We're winning this game. And they went out and they did it. But if that's in Buffalo, Scott, would have been a lot harder to pull back and recenter like they did in the fourth.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a game that goes to overtime with those kind of swings and you win it at home in overtime after a couple possessions, home field could be the tipping point, could be the difference. So I do believe Broncos country, that them earning that game and being in Denver in Mile High. Let's not forget the altitude and what an advantage it is to play in Denver.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a few things that add up, but they play that game in Buffalo. I think it's a different outcome. I think it tips just the other way. Michaela coming in so deflated. Also heard that Bryant is being shut down after another concussion. Franklin too, and that one was early. You know, Bryant looked like he was going to be a big part of this game plan. Catch Bryant. Bryant out. I'm like, well, that was fast. And is it his second one this year?
Yes.
That's scary. You start getting multiple concussions in less than 6 months. I start thinking about your long-term well-being, y'all.
Yeah, definitely. It's a concern. It could shake out that way. We don't know that for a fact yet in terms of no reports. Sean Payton today was straight up like, hey, I'll tell you whatever you need to know, I guess, about Bo. Like, here's the story. I'll answer a couple questions. Don't ask me about any of the other injured players because I'm not going to tell you anything. So we'll see. But the Broncos do have some other wide receivers on the roster, as we know, in terms of the practice squad. Elijah Moore, Michael Bandy. I mean, they're not on the roster for a reason. Pat Bryant is. But, yeah, that was a bummer. And, look, it's just like Sean Payton said last night, man. We've lost players all year long. I mean, it's football. That's what happens. And we've consistently found a way to overcome. And so all we can hope, Michaela, is that they can do so again, that they can overcome not just the loss of Pat Bryant, possibly Troy Franklin. Hamstrings are tricky things, but obviously the dagger to our hearts last night, the Bo Nix news, that's the biggest thing. And that's why you're feeling deflated. And my message last night before we knew about Bo Nix, I'm going to still impart it to you tonight. And I promise you I say it with the utmost confidence, and that is faith precedes the miracle. It's never the other way around. So, hey, man, the Broncos have given us nothing but reason to have faith in them, nothing but reasons to believe. They just got their 15th win of the season, their first playoff victory since hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. What do we got to lose in terms of keeping the faith? So
nobody expects the Broncos to win now. The Broncos just lost. And they lost Bo, they just lost. Wait a minute. Here's your narratives, though. I almost called you Zach. Chad, I didn't think Bo Nix was any good. So what difference does it make if you lose him, right?
Right.
He was the worst quarterback in the playoffs anyway. So what's the big deal? He couldn't play. Yeah, we all know different, and so does everybody else, and they're just being dishonest.
Yeah.
But Michaela, thanks for being here. It's good to see you again. And that'll all go away once tip-off starts on Sunday. We'll be excited, and it'll go for a week and we'll get better. Glenn, he signed Gucci Danucci. That's right.
Yep. No offense, Glenn. I was trying to click on Sue and then the chat jumped. We'll grab you, Glenn. Don't worry.
We'll also sign Ben DiNucci as a third, I believe.
Practice squad though.
As a third. He might be, get an elevation and be a third emergency quarterback.
Yep.
Doc is also in. Great to see the priest and the deacon and Stiddy we trust. Also glad it's the Patriots.
Me too.
I mean, my pick from going back, and I looked it up, Chad, it was like I downloaded it just in case it was you were facing the Texans, because the last time I was on here was like 2 months ago. And I was like, watch the Texans, man. Watch the Texans. I like them. Yeah, I did like them, and I still like them. I just didn't think their quarterback was going to implode.
That quarterback sitch they have is not good, man.
That's hard to overcome.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Doc. Zach, I'm going to
thank you, Doc, brother.
Come back in. I'm going to read this one again. It says, I agree with Scott. I think we're a year away. See, these are the things that bother me. I didn't say you were a year away. I agree with Scott. I think we're a year away. No. I think you're a year ahead of schedule. I didn't think you would be here this quickly.
Right.
Now, this might not be the best team that you've got, and I don't expect it to be. I think your arrow is on the way up. But there's no reason. There's reasons, obviously. But you're in it now. You can win this. You can go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl this year. I think you can. So to say that you're a year away would mean that I don't think you can do that. I do. You're a year ahead of schedule of what I think all of us expected it to be. Last year was, hey, let's find out what we've got in our rookie quarterback. This year was, let's make the playoffs. And then year 3, let's do it. Let's do this thing.
No doubt.
The rest money's coming off the books. You've still, you got another year of, you got a team that people are going to want to play for, and you got a bunch of free agency money. and another full set of draft picks again. Isn't that nice?
That is nice. Real quick, some interesting news. Drake May went on record today after the game, knowing that, of course, the Broncos or the Patriots were advancing to play the Broncos. He said about the Bo Nix injury, quote, "The news was heartbreaking. Praying for Bo. I know he'll bounce back. He's a great player in this league." So Drake May tipping his cap to Bo Nix, giving him some support. Very classy. I give
There's
him
the
props.
QB club. They're all part of the QB club, and it's a fraternity, and they look after each other.
Yeah.
And even though he's 3 years younger, they're still classmates as far as that's concerned. They came out in the same class together, so to them, they're the same age at this point.
I'm going to read this real quick, guys, and then we got to get going here pretty soon. Glenn from Australia says, "Good morning, Chad Scott, Broncos country. After some tears last night, some sleep, Jackson, his boy, wore his Knicks jersey with pride to his swimming club. I have confidence in Peyton. Stidham, we really need the D to tighten up. Broken tackles got to be cleaned up. Dobbins back would be extremely helpful. 2 more wins. State of being, hashtag next man up. Bring on the Pats." Well said, buddy. And yeah, I mean, it was tough. It was tough. When I went to bed last night, I was trying to explain to my wife the weird mood that I was in. I was trying to convey to her, and I was about 3/4 of the way through explaining what I wanted to try to explain, and I just stopped because I saw the look in her eye. She knows how I live. She lives it herself because I'm her husband, but I could see the look in her eye where she's like, "We're talking about a game. It's football."
Glazing. The eyes are glazing.
Like, I don't care.
My wife said to me, she said she sounded like the town expert. She was at tennis today, and they're like, "Oh, you know, the women are talking about some good games this weekend." Yeah. And like, "Yeah, but didn't somebody get hurt on the Denver? I guess you were happy." Like, "Yeah, until someone got hurt." And then nobody knew what it was, and she just starts whipping off. "Oh yeah, Bo Nix, their quarterback, second-year quarterback, got hurt on the second to last play of the game. He's out for the season, have surgery." And they're like, "Wow."
Yeah, smart. She knows her stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, she does a great job of at least listening to enough to pretend she's paying attention, so I don't grow up into just an old man talking to myself because no one listens, just walking around. The kids don't listen to me. The dogs don't listen to me. Wife doesn't listen to me. I'm just going to talk to myself. That's why I talk to y'all.
All right, real quick, guys. I'm going to do some flashes here of the members. Ronk, let me see. Well, that's giving some props to someone else. So Chase says, "What do we see coming for Stidham? I feel like he can be a game manager, play safe ball. Maybe that's just hopeful thinking." We'll talk. Hold on. Sonny, 3rd concussion. Actually, you're right, dude. You're right. 3rd concussion. My bad on that. Sue for Pat Bryant. Sue Gibson will be fine with Stidham. Let's see. Ronk says, Andrew Mason said today Bryant's doing well. Again, I haven't seen any reports yet from sources I trust that there's reason to believe they're going to shut him down. It wouldn't be a surprise, though, as Scott was saying, considering the number. Let me see. Pearl, good to see you. Sunday will be 45 degrees and sunny. I'm sure it'll be a nice football environment. And yeah, Mblex, Gucci Danucci is back in the saddle, baby.
Legend.
All right, there's some folks real quick. Sonny also says here, Texan Stroud is the worst QB that was in the playoffs, 3 picks in the first half alone. I was 4. I was trying to say that yesterday, guys, that I was pissed off that outlets were calling Bo Nix, ranking him the 8th best quarterback remaining in the playoffs. All right, let me see. Well, we're about out of time. Triple C, he was grabbing in pain, grabbing the back. He was in pain, grabbing his back on that touchdown catch, talking about Marvin Mims, who did get banged up yesterday. And as I was saying before we knew the world was coming crashing down so temporarily with Bo, man, Marvin Mims screaming once again in a big game, high stakes, clutch moments. I need to be more involved in what's going on. But something was said. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Evan Ingram mentioned it post-game last night because he got asked about Mims, Scott, and he said, Mims, it was great to see him do it. I'm trying to paraphrase here. Do what he did. He's had a tough season with a lot of issues taking care of his body. So we know that Mims had the concussion, but I think maybe there have been some other things he's been dealing with physically that the team didn't necessarily telecast to the world. But members, we love you. Thank you so much. The time's already flown by. Pro 16, it's only 2 games. What's Todd saying? Todd, he'll be
It's
fine.
probably just, the doubts about Stidham, which are justified.
Yeah,
If we had our druthers, we want Bo Nix to play, but you don't
Totally.
really have a choice in this anymore. And again, what's the hope for the best for me? If I could pick one thing from Stidham other than the win, just don't turn the ball over. Protect the ball, protect the football, and lean on that defense, and lean on the defense in the home field and run the ball.
Yep. And Blex, this is like the 2005 season where any of the Final Four can win it, and there's no dominant team. That's actually a really good comparison. Really good comparison.
I think it went deeper than that too. The Jaguars are out, the Bills are out. I mean, obviously we saw the Bills and the Jags came down to the last play. The Bills and the Broncos came down to the last play. So any one of those three teams on any given day is beating one or the other. And I think having the bye week, the home field advantage, which you earned, made the difference. That's the thing is they're talking about, they're lamenting all of these things about, they're, on a day, they had one less day of rest because they played on this day and now they're playing on Saturday and, having to come to Mile High, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's why you get the number 1 seed, y'all.
Yep.
Do you want us to pay attention to anything in the regular season or not?
Yeah.
This is why you win those games. The Broncos earned this.
Yep. Mike, the Patriots don't have the same massive line that the Bills do. That's true. That O-line, man, they were giving the Broncos some problems running the ball. But hey, listen, guys, we're about out of time. So before we dip on out, I want to give a Mile High salute and a special shout out to all the Super Chat superstars, supporters, and members helping us keep the lights on tonight. And then also I want to at least shout out the folks we missed last night with our abrupt ending. But tonight, David Youngkin, Sam Bam, Eric Holt, Zachary Hintz, Naj Altaf, the legend, Death of Flynn, Shannon Mills, Mount Rushmore, and Naj Mount Rushmore, and Sam Bam Mount Rushmore, and Youngkin, by the way. So just FYI. The Triple C, Melman Ossendorf, Chaos Josh, Mblex. Oh, did we get Mblex 2 wins and Stidham gets a statue?
I think we skipped Mblex. Apologies.
Make it happen. Word, brother. Doc JC, and the Duchess, last but never least. Love you, Michaela. Keep your chin up, my friend. And then real quick, guys, before we dip, last night, if I miss someone here in this shout out, forgive us. We're doing the best we can. But to the best of our knowledge, Money Moore, Doc JC, Chris Parr, Scott Eaton, Ex-Agent, Anthony Edwards, Flat Earth Trini, DJ Capo, Shiloh Heesh, Drew Hudick, Colin Dunham, of course, Brian McGahee, Ulika, and I think that covers it. So
and Clay Wise on Facebook.
Pardon?
And Clay Wise on Facebook.
Wise.
Those are thank you for coming in last night. It was hectic last night.
Yeah.
And we ended up cutting just a little bit short, but don't think that it doesn't mean the world to us that you still were supporting us.
Absolutely.
We didn't quite get to you. So thank you very much.
You know that that's something we pride ourselves on here at MHH. And when
one of the reasons I'm here is to make sure that you guys get seen, because it gets busy, with 10,000 views and 5,000 live streams and all the chat. I mean, it gets busy, but that's one of the reasons I'm here, is to make sure that you don't get missed, and we apologize. You got missed.
Guys, last thing, connect with Scott on X at Scout Kennedy, myself at Chad and Jensen. I'm not going to go through all the other call outs except to remind you, come join the Discord server with us. The link's in the description of this stream. Love you guys. Scott, thanks for making time short notice, big dog. It was always great to hear your thoughts on the Broncos and let everyone else hear your thoughts on
yeah, happy to talk. I watched, I don't watch all of the games, but I watched all 4 of these. I'm watching the Rams and Bears over here right now. So it's been a good postseason, and this thing is wide open. I think I'm going to end up going 3-1. I thought the Texans would win, but I probably should have looked at a weather report. And I didn't expect CJ Stroud to just completely implode, but
not that bad. Not that bad.
The Broncos and the Bills made it harder than I was expecting. I thought the Broncos were going to win that a little bit easier, but they won it in the end, and that's all that matters.
You were right. Thanks again, guys. I love you. And listen, everybody, keep your chin up, because your Denver Broncos are hosting the AFC Championship Game, and I will see you tomorrow.
Loud. It's going to be so loud.
Oh yeah. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere. So I'll see you tomorrow though, guys. So for Scott, for Zach, I'm Chad. Go Broncos.